Do we get to do that? With
You can clap if you want.
There we go. We're on.
Alrighty, beautiful people. Welcome back to the Virtus Performance Podcast. We've been on a little hiatus for a while, but 2025, it's returning. So first guest, first cab off the rank, Jac Jac. Welcome.
Oh, thank you. Thanks for having me.
How's your morning been?
It's been good. Coach this morning,
How was it?
honestly. Great morning.
Tell me two people that did really cool things this morning. Questions without notice.
Oh,
Sorry.
I know. Tyson just made me laugh a lot today. Tyson was in a good mood. He just nothing coaching wise, he just made me laugh this morning.
He's
which
a
was
good man.
nice.
He's a good man.
Love that. Who did something cool? Oh, we had 4 juniors, 4 youth athletes in at 6 a.m. this morning.
Love.
Getting their stuff done before school. I appreciate that.
If you're under the age of 16 and you're training at 6 a.m,
That is solid.
I love you.
Yeah.
It's brilliant.
Committed.
All right, first question for you. First proper question. What gets you out of bed in the morning?
Oof. Honestly, I love my job. My job, every single day. I've been doing this job for 5 years now, and I am not sick of the early mornings one little bit. Love it.
What do you love about your job? What about coaching?
Oh, a little bit of everything. I get to yap all morning to people. I love to yap. I like that no 2 days are the same. Everything's different. Love the variety in my day. The freedom in my day. There's something about being up before the sun that I love. And being at work and being productive is just even better. But being a coach, watching people reach their potential, watching people's lives change, it's a feeling you can't match, as I'm sure you know.
It's pretty wonderful.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's easy to get sick of it, aspects of it, but coaching, problem solving, best job in the world.
Yeah, honestly. And day-to-day life, sometimes it can be drag. I feel like that's any job. But then, I don't know, you just have that one person who comes in and changes your perspective for the day and you're like, far out, I love my job. This is why I love doing it.
Were you always going to be a coach?
No. I think growing up I did what a lot of young people did who were into sport, and that was physio. I thought I was going to be a physio.
Yeah.
I wanted to be on the sideline of sport, and I just thought that the only way to get there was to be a physio. So I think a lot of my childhood, I thought that's where I was going to end up. Didn't turn out that way. Obviously, a lot more opportunities as I got older.
Yeah.
Realised you don't have to be a physio.
Talk me through growing up in Wodonga, playing sport. What was that like?
Growing up where?
Wodonga?
I want to go to the other side of the border.
Okay, okay.
It was great. I had a great childhood with sport. Growing up, I had access to a lot. I played a lot of different sports, main ones being netball. And funnily enough, I've told you this before, there was a pivotal moment in my childhood where I got in so much trouble that my mum made me decide between tap dance and netball. I reckon I was 6, 5 or 6, and I had to decide. And I chose netball. And I do wonder the trajectory of my life had I chose tap dance.
Mate, it could have gone some Black Swan kind of.
Yeah, I honestly think I would have been great. But
you reckon?
I mean,
can you do a plie?
I'm toxic enough to think that I could.
Yeah.
Yeah, without training.
Yep. The hubris is strong.
Yeah. But no, sport was good. Had a lot of access to a lot of different sports. As I got a little bit older into more competitive level though, I started coming down with a lot of injuries, a lot of soft tissue injuries, a lot of overuse injuries. I guess the access to what I know now to exist around sport and the gym and whatnot, unfortunately didn't exist.
It's a very common story for strength coaches to be 15 years behind where you'd like to be in terms of what you know.
Yeah.
Now, a little birdie told me that you had an incident when you were about 10 on a netball court where the same mother that made you choose tap dancing or netball made you decide to either get in a wheelchair to get off the deck or to quit netball altogether. Is that true?
Where did you hear this? Did you reach out to my parents?
I know people.
I'm traumatized by this.
I need context. I need to hear this. I need to hear the story.
I remember it. This was traumatizing more so because I've never been so mortified in my life. I remember we were playing indoor netball, so it was indoor courts, and I went up for a jump. I went up for a rebound, and I landed on my knee. and I smacked.
You landed on your knee.
Like I've like tripped on someone's foot and like I've come down and I've landed hard on my knee. And me being the drama queen that this is making me like giving me PTSD.
Absolute drama queen too.
The absolute drama queen that I am, I screamed. Like not just cried.
Proper scream.
I screamed to the point where the courts next to me stopped play. So the entire stadium had like stopped play. And anyway, they came over to me. I'm like, oh my God, what's wrong? What's wrong? And I was like, it's my knee. Like, blah, blah, blah. They thought I'd fully broken my knee or something. And like a couple minutes later, it was fine because it was just the shock of landing. And they've come out with a wheelchair. And I was just like, no, I think I can walk off. And my mum is like, you get in that wheelchair.
That's
and
phenomenal.
you let them push you off. Or we are never coming back again.
Hey, your mum's got a safe face.
And I was just like, I'm like shaking thinking about it. I've been so mortified.
Amazing.
Because it was just such a dramatic response.
Yeah.
Not even bruised. I was fine. I literally like went back to school, went back to training. And that was the end of it. And yeah, oh gosh, I remember that too. Maybe I'm traumatized from sport.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
So, because you've had your fair share of soft tissue injuries growing up, right?
Correct.
Talk me through them, because I think it's really important for athletes to understand. Like, one of the reasons why most coaches get into coaching is either they weren't good enough as an athlete, high five, or they've been through a heap of injuries and they've seen the value and progress that can be made by following a proper strength training program.
Yeah, absolutely.
Talk me through that.
I think I was playing pretty high level netball and a lot of volume. I was playing 6 days a week with trainings and playing and everything. I was across, I think, like 3 different teams at the time.
Yeah.
Including like your representative teams and academy teams and whatnot. So I was playing very heavy volume. Keep in mind, was not in the gym. Was just playing sport as a kid does. And I think my very first injury was actually the first serious injury that kind of started this roll-on effect was I tore my quad when I was about 16.
Oof.
I tore my quad in pre-season. I still remember it, we were doing sprints on the around the oval, and I slipped on the grass because it was wet, and I just felt it go straight away. And that was sort of like the first serious proper soft tissue injury. I'd rolled ankles here
Which
and there.
is pretty hectic for a 16-year-old to have a torn quad.
Yeah, exactly. So it was I was pretty much out majority of that season. Came back, I think, during the season at some point. And then was keen to do the next pre-season. Next pre-season, I started running. My foot hurt. I hope, Mum, if you're watching this, I don't blame you for anything. But essentially I said to my mum, my foot really hurts. And she said, you'll be right.
Is this going to be cathartic getting this out and blaming your mum?
It's just like, this will be therapy. And she was like, you'll be fine. And I was like, yeah, okay, whatever. I really wanted to play. I just missed half the season.
Yeah.
So I really wanted to play, and I was switching clubs as well at this time. And they were giving me a shot at A grade, and I was 16, 17. I was about to be 17, and they were giving me a shot at A grade. So I really wanted to keep playing. And anyway, I kept playing, kept pre-seasoning. Foot kept getting worse. This went on for probably like 3 months.
Yeah.
We got into the season, and it got to the point where I couldn't walk after a game. Went for an X-ray, broken second and third metatarsals.
Ooh,
so deemed stress fractures, but they'd snapped all the way through.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I was just like, Mum?
The kids playing at home, don't train through stress fractures.
Don't train. And they were just so far gone at that point that I went into a boot. I think I ended up being in a boot for months.
Yeah. Surgery or no?
No surgery. Yeah. No surgery. I was in the boot, set my own rehab back a little bit because I was 17 and I ended up going to a party and didn't want to wear my boot. And someone stood on my foot.
Oh, no.
And I got set back another couple of months in the moon boot. So rookie mistake there. So
we've all been there.
2 years I had torn quad.
Yeah.
Broken foot, essentially.
Right at the peak part of your sporting life, yeah. Did you keep playing after that? Like did you get back from? I did a short stint in Melbourne for uni. So that was so this was at the end of year 12. I turned 18 essentially that pre-season. I had turned. This was the start of year 12. I'd broken my foot.
Finished year 12. I was pretty much out that entire season. Finished year 12. And then had the season off because I'd planned to come to Melbourne. My stint in Melbourne lasted a couple of weeks before I didn't want to be in the city anymore, and I went home for a gap year.
Talk me through the decision to come to Melbourne, because I guess, like, I grew up down here, so there wasn't that. It was an hour drive to the city for uni, right? So what was that like? Because obviously it's a massive move going from Albury to Melbourne.
Yeah.
What was that like?
It was huge and I wasn't ready for it.
Yeah.
Was the bottom line. I think it was an expectation that we finish school, we go to uni.
Yeah.
And I wanted to be in sport. I wanted to do, at the time, I'd gotten into a double degree in sports science and business management at Deakin.
I wasn't smart enough to get into that degree.
I don't think I was either. I don't know how that how that happened. But I just wasn't ready. I didn't love the city. I never really had. So, are you good?
No, you're good. You're good. We were just getting a red light. You're okay. Carry
on. But it was a standard expectation that you kind of came to uni and this was where the best course was going to be. And I feel like, it was just a standard that you moved away from a small town like that.
Was there ever a conversation about going to uni or not going to uni, or was it always just like
you're going to uni?
An expectation? But there was no like vocal, like, you're going to uni, or was it just...
I think there was just an underlying... I'm sure there was at some point in my high schooling, but for me, it was never a question of taking gap year. Like, that was never a thought throughout in my entire high school.
Or never not going to uni and doing something different.
It was never an option.
Yeah, because I was the same. I remember a couple of years after uni being like, I never really had an alternative option.
No.
Which I think is a good thing in ways, but obviously we know now that uni isn't the be all and end all.
No. Whereas then I feel like it definitely, like, your ATAR still really mattered to get into things, to have the qualifications to get jobs.
Yeah.
And we were just lucky enough that this space kind of blew into what it was and what it's become.
Yeah.
But no, there was never any doubt in my mind that I was going to set off to uni. Now, what I was going to do at uni...
Yeah, that was...
I had no idea. All I knew is I wanted to be in the health space.
Yeah.
Hence the physio. I kind of assumed I wanted to get into physio. So moved down here. I didn't even last a month.
Yeah.
Didn't even last a month. And I remember I called my parents and I was just like, I'm coming. I dropped out before the census date.
Yeah.
And I said, I'm coming home.
Yeah.
And I said, I'm working. I always had a plan. I was like, I'm going to work full time.
Yeah.
Take the rest of the year.
Yeah.
I did.
Yeah.
I worked my butt off.
Yeah,
worked a few different jobs. Was working 60+ hour weeks in hospo. Bought myself a car.
Nice.
Did all those things and looked to transfer to the local uni the year after.
Yeah. 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 And that's the path you followed?
No.
No?
I did. Well, so I did finish with them, but
I
actually went back into OT.
Yeah.
For a couple of years.
Yeah.
Because again, I had no idea what I wanted to do, but it was this whole idea that I had to go to uni.
Yeah.
So I went into OT and then got 2 years into OT and I was like, I hate this. It wasn't for me. It just...
How long into OT did you start having those like rumblings that you're like, I hate this?
First placement.
Yeah. And you just
First placement, I was bored.
Gritted your teeth.
Yep, because I was in it for the wrong reasons.
Was it the sunk cost aspect of it, of like, I've already done this? Yeah. Like, you started the podcast with, I love my job. And obviously that point of your life was the other end of that spectrum. What, and this might be like a one-liner, it might be like a thought process, but like, what advice would you have for someone who's going through that, or is in that space of like, I don't know what I want to do with my life? Because some people are 30, some people are 50, some people are 17 going, I don't know what I want to do.
Yeah.
How would you approach that conversation with someone now?
Oh, I just wish I could shake people. It's okay if you don't know. It's so okay. And whether that's you're in high school right now not knowing what you wanted to do, or whether you're in your 30s settled in your career and you think that you don't have an out, it's okay, you can change. You are not set in your job. If you are not happy, and that is something that you can control, go find something that makes you happy. Because I promise you, I don't want to be at the end of my career hating my job, waiting for retirement.
Yeah.
I want to be in a place, and I've been waiting for the other shoe to drop. I've been coaching for 5 years now, and I'm like, oh, well, when I get my real grown-up job, and I'm waiting for that shit because I'm like, oh, well, everyone just doesn't like their jobs. It's just what you do.
Yeah.
And I'm like, this is wild. I love my job.
Yeah.
So if you're unsure, actually, I had a chat with one of the youth athletes this morning about this, because she was like, oh, she wasn't quite sure, and she's kind of heading into year 12, and I was like, if you don't know, go find out.
Yeah.
If you don't want to go to uni because you don't know what you want to do, don't go to uni.
Yeah.
Go travel, go work, go get life experience, because nothing really clicked for me until I was probably like, I swear, I turned 25 and something just went boom.
Yeah.
I was like, this is it. Like, yeah.
How many jobs would you have had between finishing school and 25 that you didn't like, that it took you to get to the point? And this can include placements and stuff as well.
Oof. I have been so lucky, so fortunate and so lucky.
Yeah.
The only jobs that which actually at the time I didn't even mind, hospo, you couldn't pay me enough to go back into hospitality. And I probably had, I worked at 2 major hospitality jobs. So I went from a bar to a pool to do swim coaching. I was allergic to the chlorine that they put in the pool. That lasted 6 months. And then I went to another pub, which I stayed at until I ended up doing my certs and my ASCO accreditation, and I became a coach.
Yeah.
In that time, I also started my own business and everything. I've done a lot within this space, and I've been lucky enough to have done this for 5 years now, which is crazy. But to get from there to here, I'd probably say that I've actually been fortunate enough that I have loved a lot of aspects of a lot of different jobs, and I've taken something from everything too. Yeah. But it's easy to sit back in hindsight. At the time, I remember I was hating hospitality. I hated it.
Yeah, but like all of the skills that you learn in hospitality and then swim coaching, obviously you learned that you're allergic to chlorine, but all of the skills that you learn, they're transferable to what you do now, 100%. Right? Like, again, it's been a throwaway line for years, but we've always said to our interns and our members is just like, go try shit, and you'll learn more about what you don't like doing than what you do.
100%. And if it's something that you don't like, you're one step closer.
Yeah,
like you can rule cross that thing off the list.
7,000 jobs to go, but there's one less. Yeah,
and like internships and placements and stuff. Again, I took a lot away. Don't get me wrong. There's probably aspects of every internship and placement that I've done that I'm like, didn't love.
Yeah,
but for the most part, I took a lot away from all the experiences that I set out to do.
Yeah, I love that. What about after OT? What was the movement then? What was the shift?
I ended up back in sports science.
Yeah. Just full circle.
Just full circle moment. So I ended up back there just a few years later.
Yeah. When you were ready.
Yeah, and during that time, I decided to go do my Cert 3 and 4 in fitness, which I was like, hey, I like this. What more can I do? So I went and I did my ASCO accreditation, and I learned more about strength and conditioning side of things as well. And I went, okay, and I think that was what really cemented it for me. So then I went back to sports science after that. I took like a semester off.
Yeah.
Where I deferred, still didn't know what I wanted to do. So I did my Cert 3, 4, went back to working full-time. I worked full-time my entire undergrad. I just went from 60 hours to 40 hours, like normal. But yeah, I took a semester off where I had deferred from OT, still was unsure, and I did my Cert 3, my Cert 4, and then my ASCO accreditation in the end of, that was in 2019.
Yep.
And I went back to sports science in 2020.
Yeah.
Yep. And that cemented it.
Did you have like a feeling of like I'm in the right place when you got back to sports science?
Yeah. Yeah. Every subject that came up, I was genuinely interested in. Like the whole idea, uni can be a bit of a drag sometimes. Definitely. There's subjects out there that you just kind of got to tick off.
Yeah.
But I was lucky enough that I had enough prerequisites from OT. So I'd already done all your basic level anatomy and physiology. I used a lot of my OT as credits for electives.
Yeah.
So it was kind of only left with like the core sports science subjects. And I went, this is cool. I want to know more.
Yeah, that's good. Because I think like when you're genuinely interested in the subject matter, it kind of, whether you're at uni or whether you're just learning, it doesn't really matter. Because I look back on my uni career and like I just did enough to get through because I wasn't mature enough or old enough to realize or to actually genuinely want to learn about it. I was just like, I'm just doing it for the sake of doing it. But I was directionless as well. I didn't have this is what I want to do. Yeah. I was PTing at the same time and I loved that, but again, wasn't a grown up career as far as I was concerned at that time. And then masters.
Yeah, it's really funny. what you said though about having that direction is, and a lot of people don't know this, and actually probably a lot of my friends don't know this either because I actually lied at the time. But my ATAR was so bad.
Yeah.
Was so bad. And now I'm graduating with distinctions and high distinctions because I'm passionate about what I'm studying now. And I think that is the big difference is, if you're at uni and you're just ticking boxes.
Which is kind of high school for a lot of people like us who like sport and want to, go and play netball and football and do that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Whereas like school is kind of just like, and, talking to the junior this morning about it is like, there's that aspect of like I'm just doing it because I've got to like get it done. And high school, I think 100%. You've just got to get it done, and you've got to find the things that allow you to like almost give you little nudges of motivation. But I think the thing that like I finished school like 15, 16 years ago now.
Yes.
Yeah, I know, right? It's just like the curiosity is the thing. Like being curious and going, what? Like I want to learn things.
Yeah.
Like you can be learning a subject. There's a part of me that would love to go back to school now with what I know now, because you'd learn things with a whole different lens, through a whole different lens of experience. And I feel as though, and like I would love to do uni again now, knowing what I know now, because I wasted so much time at uni, not learning the shit that I actually give a shit about now, but I wasn't curious about it because I was like, I'm just ticking the box.
Yeah.
Obviously, you went from undergrad and you were already around in that feeling into a master's. Like, was it just a natural progression for you to go, yep, I'm going to go into master's after this?
Yeah, I definitely always, I was very aware of the fact that finishing with an undergrad in sports science didn't leave you with a hell of a lot career-wise, unless you were just going to be essentially a glorified S&C coach.
Wowzers.
Cop that Waller. But that... well, you're a business owner too, so I'll give you props there. But essentially, like, that was sort of the avenues that you're looking at, right? There's not exactly a hell of a lot of sports scientists being hired or exercise scientists being hired in workplaces. So postgrad for me was, again, sort of an expectation that I had of myself purely for career progression. And I had a little fleeting feeling there that maybe I could just be like a really good S&C coach, but I was too curious and I wanted to know more. So probably originally I wasn't going to go into it straight away. So I was still living in Albury when I finished my undergrad, and we very abruptly moved down here within the space of a couple of months.
Yeah.
And just that shift in, I'd gone from like having contracted work and I was employed full time to moving down here, and I had a casual job, and I was like, well, while I'm only casually employed, maybe I just go straight into my master's and get stuck into it. We've moved down here now, so I'm nice and close to campus. Let's get it done before I then commit to any contracted work or full-time work afterwards. So that was sort of the thoughts that I always wanted to do it, but the plan was to take a year off. And I'm very, very glad I didn't. But yeah, it was a no-brainer. I was too curious. I needed to know more. As dorky as that might sound.
No, I like that.
It wasn't enough. Undergrad wasn't enough for me. And I'm very glad that I did, because I think everything that I have learned in the last 18 months has just made me a much more confident coach. It's given me experiences and opportunities to network, to meet people, to see different perspectives. It's opened up my eyes to potential career opportunities and where this could actually take me and what do I want to make of it. So
it's pretty cool.
I love it.
It's pretty cool. How is because obviously you've been coaching the whole time, right? So all throughout uni, masters, you've been coaching in different spaces. How's the mix of practical and theoretical kind of shaped you as a coach, and your belief systems, your principles,
It has been the best. It's in the best way. It's made me the kind of coach that I am, because I learned something theoretically and I had the luxury to apply that straight away, to test it out. Did it work? Did it not work? Like, what response do I get? And like straight away, I'm learning all these things in the classroom, and I had the luxury to go and actually implement them. And I've just been lucky enough with my jobs and my roles that I have the freedom to do that as well. And whether that's just simple things from tips learnt through soft skills that the uni's talking about, like that the modules are talking about, and whether that's like different forms of motivation and like how to get the best out of your clients and things like that, how different people work, and to be able to then implement that straight away and then not be like holding on to it all and then having to wait for a placement or something to be like, oh wait, like all of that. I can, as it pops up, as it pops up, you can like try different things and so I feel like it's shaped me massively in who I am and my confidence as well, to be able to put it into I'm a hands-on learner, so to be able to practically apply all of my theoretical knowledge.
Well, you build confidence by actually applying things, figuring out what works, what doesn't, trialing and error, problem solving. So when it comes to going, well, how do I feel about this? Confidence level's already there because you're like, well, I've been trying it and I know what works, I know what doesn't, and I have belief in my ability to elicit the adaptation that I'm looking for.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, I think it's cool.
Outside of the coaching realm for a second, what was it like moving down to Hume?
I love this. I'm loving this so far. This has hands down been the best thing that I could have ever done for myself personally. Yeah. It was, and like on a professional level, but on a massive personal level, moving down this way was the biggest challenge that I've faced. Yeah. Probably not in my life, not probably the biggest challenge that I've ever faced in my life so far, but hands down to move away from your support network and your friends, a job, a full-time job. I had a grad position lined up for me.
Wild.
To step away and say no to all that and come down here, I had no job, no support. I had no friends, no family.
Got that, Mark.
I was about to say, okay, like
I had Mark. Take that personally.
I had Mark, and his family here, but at that point, I hadn't had a lot to do with his family either. Yeah. So, you know, to me, a lot of relationships were to still be formed, and so to move away from all of that was big, and it was huge. But I think that the last nearly 18 months we've nearly been down here now, I've seen the biggest shift in myself.
Yeah, huge.
And and who I am, and just getting out of my comfort zone, getting away from my hometown and things like that. I miss my family more than anything. But I'm very lucky enough that they visited a lot. I can go home if I need to. But the life that I've built down here, wouldn't trade it. I love it. Sorry, Mum, I'm not coming home. I'm not coming home.
It's all right. The Coughlan's can just move down this end.
Yeah, exactly. I'm trying to convince them. So.
Now, is it true there was almost another career change that happens maybe halfway down the Hume when you might have decided to join one of our local bikie gangs?
Oh, Mark, I'm going to kill him.
What? Oh, he didn't tell me. Link told me. Were you?
I thought it was you. I did not realise this was universal. I didn't realise that was universally known.
We'll be in a minute.
And oh my Lord.
You look good on a Harley.
I didn't realise. I thought they were only violent in movies. I hands down am this naive that I did not think that Hell's Angels were a legitimate like criminal gang. I thought
sheltered country town girl.
I thought that this legitimately was like something that like American movies had made up, and like I knew there were bikie gangs, obviously, duh, but I didn't realize they were actually criminals. Like some of them.
Go on, fill me
criminals.
In. Tell us the story.
We're driving home for Christmas, and Mark and I drove separately, and I'm probably like I don't know how far ahead of him. And I get this text through Siri in the car saying, Hell's Angels coming up behind you or something like that. And I was like, okay, cool.
What does that mean?
So I was like, great. Like I knew they were a motorcycle gang, but like he would tell me that sort of thing, like if big groups of bikes or anything were coming, like he'd just be like, yeah, they're coming. And I'm like, okay, cool. Man. Yeah, just warning me. Or like hoon coming down or something like that, someone speeding. So it'd be like, he was like, oh, Hell's Angels coming in hot behind you.
Coming in hot.
And I was like, so I looked in my rear vision mirror and they were like a few hundred meters behind me. I was like, cool. And I was like coming up to overtake this car. So like they're in the left and I'm in the right, overtaking lane, as you should be. Yeah. Overtaking. And I'm thinking like, oh, I've got more than enough time to overtake this car and then get into the left-hand lane and then they can zoom past me. Well, they zoomed up a lot quicker than I was
zoomed up.
They zoomed up a lot quicker than I was expecting. And I'm side by side to this car. Okay, I'm trying to overtake here.
Yeah.
I thought they would just wait behind and then until I overtake and then they go.
Sure, Hell's Angel with somewhere to be.
They don't wait. So they essentially, like, they've come up the middle of us and around and they were sitting like, here's my car, and they're like sitting at the front of it. And I'm like, what the heck? I'm surrounded. I had the automatic braking, like the automatic cruise control. And I was like, what's that? So I like turned that off. And then I was like, oh my God. Because they were so close to the car. And I'm doing like 110 down the side, like down the Hume. And they're so close to the car. Okay, also a little bit of context. Wait. Sorry, I forgot this very important part of context. I'd just done high rocks.
Oh, see, pins were a little bit cooked.
I had just finished my first doubles high rocks.
Yep, get around
and
it.
I got straight in the car.
Yeah.
I'm exhausted. I'm so tired. My body was in so much pain because at this point I'd then been sitting for like 2 hours post high rocks and I'd like seized up. I was in pain, but I was like, just get to Albury. It gets so much worse. So I honked them. As in to be like, hello?
List of things to not do.
So it gets worse. So I honked them and I was just like, oh my God. And they were surrounding my car. And I was just like,
How many of them were there?
oh, like 20. 20. And
Mark just drove past, like, I don't know her.
literally, he's so far behind me and he's watching, and I'm still like overtaking this car. Like I hadn't gotten past the car yet. And so I'm trying to, and they're either side of us and they're like just going up. So I just sat on my horn.
I love it.
And I just sat on it. And then, I don't know why I did the sound effect, but like, and then we got to like an exit and they took the exit. And I called Mark. Oh, these assholes were so close to my car in here. And I was just like, oh, what do they think? They own the road or something? Like, blah, 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 blah. And then Mark was like, well, yeah.
Pretty much.
And I was just like, no, they don't. I was just like, they still have to follow the road rules. And he was just like, police literally just look the other way.
You're just sitting there just like,
and I was just
out
like,
the
oh my
window.
God, I was so angry.
Amazing.
And he was just like, well, yeah. And I was like, oh, I sat on my horn. I told him and he was like, you what? And he was like, you idiot. He was like, you idiot. You know, they could have just taken you off the road and I never would have seen you again. And I
never would have seen you again.
I never would have known because like at this point he couldn't see me. And he was like, imagine me having to explain
That's
that
maybe
to your parents.
Maybe a little bit of hyperbole, but still good.
He was like, imagine me explaining that to your parents.
You could have been Hell's Angel.
I reckon I would have done well.
Yeah, I reckon.
Yeah,
I reckon
I feel like I would have been the leader one day. but apparently you have to commit a crime to get in. That's actually on their resume. Like it's on the resume.
There you go.
So anyway, I'm alive. I'm to tell the tale.
Can't imagine you would have committed any crimes.
Yeah, and then I was scared because Mark told me that they had my license plate now. And so they know where I live.
Which is where Mark lives.
Well, the issue is we were living with his parents at the time.
Oh, of course.
When we're waiting for the house.
Yep.
And I was just like, so if your parents aren't there when we get home from Christmas?
Shit.
I was like, oh well. But yeah.
Yeah, well,
I would have been a good Hell's Angel.
Merry Christmas. I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. All right, now back into the coaching dealio. So you started at Virtus in, I suck at timelines, April? August?
I want to say it was a J month.
J month?
It was
July?
June or July.
Yep.
I can't remember.
Yeah. How have you found it so far, and how has it fit into your existence?
Oh, so good. I love it. I genuinely love it. I love the freedom.
All right, now tell me the truth.
Yeah. Lockie sucks.
Yeah, it's true. Hydrated though.
Hydrated queen.
If you're listening, drink some water.
You gorgeous thing. Yeah, like experience from day dot was pretty incredible. It was a bit of a stars aligned moment, really.
It was.
The way things kind of worked out. So I think it was you reached out to me on the weekend. We caught up for coffee on the Monday morning.
Yep.
I had a trial Monday night.
Locked it in by Tuesday.
Yeah, locked it in by Tuesday.
You made Keck vomit on Tuesday, and then we locked it in.
And I made my my trial vomit, and I was like, and Lockie, she's like, you've got the job. That was that.
No, I asked Sam if I should hire you. And he's like, honest, should I tell her?
You're like,
Because
yes.
by then you just had to not cook it up in that session and you would have been sweet. But yeah, it was a bit of a stars align moment. Universe delivered.
It did. It very much did. And then, yeah, like I don't think I have the words to quite describe the community that are here. And I'm very, very, very passionate now about the community. They're very much my family. I get protective over them.
Which we love.
Yeah, I love them. Every aspect of it. I love the fact that I'm finally getting the chance to also dive a lot more into athletic development, which I've always had a strong passion for, just the way that my jobs have lined up. I've never really been in that space.
Yeah.
I've done internships and placements that have exposed me, but I never really got a lot of autonomy over the way that I got to run my programming or run my clients and things like that. So the fact that you have so much faith in letting me
don't fuck it up.
I know, I could go rogue. I really could. I appreciate it, and it's made me have to stand on my own 2 feet and back myself as well. Like, I feel like you never stop learning. There's always areas that you can improve on, and getting to take on, whether that's youth athletes, whether it's already developed members and things like that. I've just had to go with it and back myself, and having the team and everyone to support. We're very much bounce off each other type community and team, and it's just lucky. I feel very lucky. I feel very blessed. I don't think I could have walked into like a better team, a better scenario, doing exactly what I want to do every single day, which is just insane. Again, waiting for that shoe to drop. I'm waiting for that shoe to drop. That this is my job. I finish off uni soon, and I'm like, this is it.
Yep.
Love.
Yeah, it's exciting. And I think, like, talk me through that community, because I think, like, it's always been something for me that I've wanted to cultivate, that I've wanted to promote or to have or to celebrate.
Yeah.
And there's days where you're like, oh, do we have a connected community? But you've obviously come in as a new face, not knowing anyone, and you've been able to just slot straight in. So what's that been like? Not only as a coach, but also as a contributing part of that community.
Yeah. I think it's a different experience when you don't know anyone. So it's like, I didn't grow up on the peninsula. I didn't exactly know anyone from like netball or anything like that. I came in purely seeing the diversity in the community as well. And I feel like I'm actually speechless on how to explain the kinds of people that we have here. And I don't even know if it's the kind of people or just the culture that's built. And it's a kind of culture that you can't explain how you got there. It's standards that are essentially trickle from the top. So like the standards that you have on your staff, the standards that you have on the members and the way that they conduct themselves in the gyms, and the kind of space that you want people to feel safe, feel healthy, move their body. I think the perspective around this gym and how people battle through can come from all different walks of life, but ultimately they come here and this goal is all the same. Like, slotting in from an outsider, I don't ever really recall there being an awkward transition from my end.
Yeah.
From my end, it may be from if some of you recall.
If you had an awkward interaction with Jack, please let us know.
A few probably wrong names, I can imagine. Not good with names. But coming in, I never felt like I had to prove myself. I never felt like unwanted. I was welcomed from day dot, from every single person. And that was unusual. I've been to a few different gyms and things like that as I've moved around, and I feel like it always takes a little bit of time for people to open up, but it's just the community. Like, everyone's so beautiful, everyone's so lovely. It's just that standard, that expectation. And if you don't kind of fit into that mold, not that it's a very, very big mold, mind you, but it's like, they're just decent humans. They're good humans. I'm very lucky to be part of that, and they make me better too. Like, they're such great people that you therefore want to be a good coach, and you want to give them your absolute all because they're giving the same to you. And I just love that. Yeah. I don't know if that answers your question.
I can't remember what my question was. Yeah. No, but that's exactly it. I think that one of the things, because everyone says, yeah, we got a community and we're building community, and I think it's really important that there are many factions of communities across the peninsula, or like everywhere, but let's use our community. Like there's a wider community, and then there's like the Virtus members and you know, their family and friends and those communities. And I think that like what makes a community is contribution, is you're part of a thing, but you're not just sitting there like just absorbing it all. You're actually contributing, and there's back and forth, and there's give and take, and you know, in a space like ours, people are here because they want to learn, they want to grow, they want to develop, they want to change, they want to adapt. But there's an underlying like humanity to it, which is just I want to connect, I want to be a part of something, I want to contribute to something, and I want to help other people achieve what they want to achieve and be better as well. And I think that that's one of the coolest things that I find in this community. And you know, I have days where I can enjoy it as a punter and days where I kind of feel like I'm putting out fires and problem solving and things. But I think that like knowing that at any time when we're coaching, I can go down the gym floor and have real conversations, vulnerable, open, check-ins with people around how they're going, and they'll ask me about how I'm going, and we'll talk about the kids, and we'll talk about work, we'll talk about sport, everything. Talk about school, and you know, I think I might have copped the back end of that conversation this morning, talking to that member about like, I don't know what I want to do afterwards and things like that. But it's like it almost doesn't matter when you've got a whole group of people here that are contributing to the whole as well. So you're a perfect fit for this community because you just genuinely give a shit. And I think that was probably the reason, outside of the clear technical capacities that you had as a coach, but it was just you gave a shit. And I think, you know, you can say whatever you want about our coaches and our team, but you know, Dak, Georgia, Tyler, Aiden now, Greg, everyone just genuinely gives a shit and wants to see people grow and achieve and do cool things. Yeah.
And it's like it's the mindset around it all as well. Like, I think very rarely do we really have many negative conversations. Yeah. A lot of it is based around how well our members are doing, and I think that's driven a lot, obviously, in our member chat, and you know, Dakaruni doing it every week, and you know, chasing like those positives. And I think it helps people therefore stop and reflect and recognize that even though when life's shit and life's hard, there are like, it's up to you to find the good. Yeah. And yeah, like I honestly, I don't understand how people can not care, especially when you know as much as you do. So don't get me wrong, like all the theory in the uni and all of that has been fantastic. Yeah. But at the end of the day, what good is it if you can't gain the respect and trust of people to then educate them? Yeah. They're not going to listen to you until you build that trust and respect, right? So it's like you've got to give a shit to be able to do that.
Yeah, but I think the coaches that stay in this industry for a long period of time, they're in it like, it's not an industry where you go, oh, I'm going to come in, I'm going to make heaps of cash, and then I'm going to get out and go do something I love. Like, it's an industry where you do it because you genuinely care, and because you want to see people achieve and grow and develop, and knowing that you can have, you know, albeit a small part to play. Like, all we do is the way I look at it is we facilitate greatness. We create a space and a culture where people can come in and level up. Yeah. But we can't do the work for them. But we can guide them and bring out all of the growth that they have inside them. It's just a little bit of a nudge in the right direction.
Yeah. Yeah. And then creating that space, like, when people want to be here on their worst days, and that to me is just a testament to the kind of place that this is, and it happens regularly. Obviously everyone has shit in their life, right? But the fact that so many of our members walk in here on their hardest days and their shittest days when life is crumbling, and they find peace and support here, that to me will forever outweigh any technical athletic coaching that I could ever do. Yeah. As fun as it is, and as much as I love it, and I'll never stop doing it, it's part
of the puzzle.
Yeah, when you think about really what part of your job makes a difference, that I forever want to be that coach and that person who gives a shit? I never want to stop caring. I don't want to stop caring about anyone. So
Yeah, good.
it's nice to be in an environment where that is a common goal, a common theme. We're all on the same page.
Now, we could keep going for ages.
Oh,
I've got
couldn't we?
2 more questions for you. Jack will be back. We've been told that there's a Jac and Jac podcast on the way, so God help us all. 2 more questions. First one is, what are you most excited for?
Oh, I am super, this is going to be like really but like I am super excited to submit my thesis. It has just been 7 years in the making, and I'm so excited to not only like obviously submit and be done, but I think it's just more so I've achieved it, I've done it, I stuck to something.
Yeah.
And that's a big thing for me. So I'm super excited to get that done. I'm super excited to see where I head, like where I go, what I just think about all the shifts and the changes that have happened in the last 12 months and the kind of coach and person that I've developed into. Definitely I'd say pivotally, is that a word?
Pivotally, probably not.
Pivotally? It should be. Pivotally.
All words are made up.
Yeah, it's fine. In the last 12 months. And so I'm excited to see who I become in the next 12.
Love it.
So, yeah.
Awesome.
Love that.
Good. Last question. What are you most proud of?
Oh. I got asked this by a guy on the street the other day when I was on the boardwalk in Frankston.
Love that.
Yeah. He founded Movember, the organisation. Yeah, and he asked like random people on the street. Anyway, so he asked me this. So many things, personally and professionally.
Go on, give me one from each.
Professionally, my master's, but not for the fact of doing my master's. It was more so what my whole study period has represented in like my development as a coach, sticking to it. And I'm so proud to have found something that I'm so passionate about. And I feel like sometimes that's quite rare. And so I'm proud of myself for, even though it took me a little while to get there, I stayed true to what I was passionate about pursuing. Yeah. And I like that. And when I was curious, I kept going. Yeah. It would have been very easy to just be like, oh, but this isn't like a real grown-up job. Maybe I should just like, do something else or do that. And
everything's made up though.
That thought crossed my mind a lot.
That's why I chose to do a master's and then quit, because there was 10 months where I was like, yep, this will be the safe option. Yeah. But there's no such thing as a safe option. And would it have really, like, had you finished your master's, would it really have changed the outcome of what you ended up doing? No. Yeah, but like you probably would have still ended up doing something like this, the business anyway. Absolutely. Yeah. So it's like, but I did it. I did my master's for all the right reasons. And it's essentially what it all represents. Personally, what I'm most proud of? I'm proud of moving. I'm very, very proud of moving down here, and I'm proud of the person that I became in the process. Yeah. We get it wrong sometimes, like obviously we all do, but I said to Mark, it hit the new year, and I could be exposing myself here, but I don't care. It hit the new year, and like everyone's doing their self-reflection and whatnot. And I remember I was like, I'm not a journal writer, I've never been one, but I was just writing a few notes on my phone, and I was just sobbing. Awesome. Happy tears. Yeah, good. Because I was just... This is what life is now. It was the first time that I just felt as though the friends that I've surrounded myself with make me better, that the person that I'd become was making me go to bed every night confident in the fact that I'm a good person and I have good standing values and morals. And although they might not align with everyone all the time, I'm very, very, very proud that over the last couple of... 12 months or so, I pushed through that uncomfortableness when I moved. Love it. And I am who I am, and I'm very proud of that. So, what a way to end.
I know.
Love it. Any more? Do you want to tell the people anything? Anyone you want to give a pump up to, celebrate?
Always. Everybody. Oh, not off the top of my head.
Nah,
So many
it's all right.
people. I'm actually like, I can't believe just how much gratitude I have for so many people in my life right now. Like you probably being number one, but I can't stare at you and
Tell Mark. Pump up Mark.
Mark's a legend. But I feel like that goes without saying.
I hope so. Sometimes it's nice to say it though.
Yeah, I say it to him. He knows.
Good, just make
No,
sure.
the biggest support, couldn't have done any of this without him. He has
stuff.
been, those people that just make you better. And I'm just lucky I found it in a partner. So,
Awesome.
hands down.
How did you two meet, by the way?
Through a mutual friend. We originally met and then, didn't speak again for months and months and months. The abbreviated version was it was at a star party that I'd convinced my manager that I was going to get him to sign up because he came as a +1 to a friend. Not a girlfriend, like
Gotcha.
a guy. That night, he did not sign up and I was very intoxicated. Trying to like buy him rounds and stuff. Anyway, went rogue and it was just one of those things that authentically happened. He kind of just kept popping up.
That's cool.
Didn't have each other, didn't have contacts for each other or anything, and met him once, and then 6 months later he popped up again, and then a month later he popped up again, and it just kind of all happened, and
Here we are.
he said to,
Dog, a house, and a pizza oven.
a golden $1 million dog, a pizza oven and a house, and a whole life, and I guess at the end of the day none of this would have been possible with him because I followed him back home.
Love it.
So
Immense.
love you, doll.
Cute. All right, on that note, be amazing. See you next time.
Bye.
Have a good day.
Is that Billy?
It's Lucy.
Oh, stop
Have a
it.
good day.